Hey guys, welcome back. We're doing another reading. Today's reading is for Jason, the most patient guy ever. A card fell out right away, so I'm just gonna go for that one. I'm gonna use the Osho Zen Tarot card for you, the deck for you. I don't know if you've ever used these. I've been using these for like 10 plus years. They're amazing. But I find that this is what I'm finding. Okay, I have two decks. My new deck is the Oracle deck, and Osho Zen Tarot cards is an old deck. This one to me is a little bit more practical reality grounding stuff. This is a little bit more airy-fairy, ethereal, spiritual, but to me it's bridging the heaven and earth point. So it's like this is a little more ethereal, this is a little more grounded, practical, but they work together. So maybe that's something I can do in the future. Two cards, get a little heaven and earth action going. Look at Jason, you've inspired this. So I'm gonna go for this deck for you. And your card popped out here, and that's interesting because it's this card, which we had briefly before that you said it really resonated. So aloneness. It's interesting because, okay, so what comes up for this is that it's like there's a fear. There's a fear here. You see this little ledge? It's like being on the ledge of something, being on the edge of something, being at like a precipice of something, being at a point where, okay, a decision has to be made. A movement needs to be taken. And there's a fear because you don't know, you're just assuming that off that cliff, you're gonna fall and you're gonna fucking just hurl down and splat and die, you know? But we don't really know what is on the other side of that. We don't really know what's past that ledge. And we're just assuming, and when I say we, I'm saying you, is that there's something to fear. That, you know, but it's that point of you don't really know until you get to the other side of it. This brings up a little bit of the smoking point in terms of when I quit smoking. It was this point of I don't know who I am without smoking. Okay, and this is just an example for you to understand more practically what I'm referring to. I don't know who I am without smoking. I've never been a non-smoker except for when I was little. I've always been with this idea that I'm addicted. I've always been this point of feeling like I couldn't quit. I've always been this person who was like just habitually constantly smoking. So when I decided to quit, there was fear of like, who am I gonna be on the other side of this? And like, who am I going to be if I walk through and take that step and make the decision to actually quit? It's like there was such fear of the experience being so like falling off of a cliff, like the fear and the like fear of discomfort and fear of withdrawal and fear of like not making it and fear of like having to go through that process was like really terrifying in a way. But I knew that there was another side to it. I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I knew that there was something beyond what I was currently accepting and allowing as this idea of me being addicted to smoking. So it was this point of like, I have to just walk through this because I've never walked through this. I don't know who I will be, but I trust that there is another side to it. I won't feel shitty forever. I won't be addicted forever. I won't like have this struggling experience with the cravings forever. It's temporary. It's all temporary. This too shall pass. It's that point of like, this is just temporary. I don't know what's beyond that ledge, but I will never know unless I walk through it, unless I take the step, unless I take a leap of faith, unless I jump off and just dive in and see what happens. It's like that point of see who you are. Don't be afraid to see who you are in the hardest moments and in the easiest moments, you know, and don't maybe assume it's going to be that bad and don't assume it's going to be hard. But if it is, know that the moment will pass, and to fully just accept what your experience is in that moment and just know it will pass. If you don't continue to take the same action, if you decide even in that experience to not take that action, it will pass and eventually it will get easier and then you will be at the light of the end of the tunnel. So yeah, it's just that point of like, don't be afraid to take the step. Don't be afraid to make the decision. Don't be afraid to like jump off, you know? It's like really just jump off. Don't be afraid to jump off, because you might be surprised you can fly. You know, I think that it's easy for us to assume the worst about ourselves because we've kind of been programmed to believe the worst in ourselves. And we sometimes focus on the worst of ourselves and the bads of ourselves and like the shitty stuff. Like for some reason we like that. But maybe assume the best of yourself and you might get the best in return. You know, like how you look at it, how you approach it, what you believe of yourself, that shit matters. So how are you looking at yourself? Are you giving yourself the credit you actually deserve in terms of what you're actually capable of and what you're actually able to harness in yourself? Have you harnessed the power within you to actually direct yourself in every single moment and to create your life to be exactly as you want it to be? Have you accepted that power within yourself yet? If you haven't, maybe that's where we start. Start believing in yourself. Start believing that you have the fucking power to change your world. And so the world as a whole, you know, but you have to do it for yourself first. You have to believe that you can actually change you to believe you can change anything in this world. So empower yourself by finding your power inside yourself, of taking the leap of faith, taking the step, making the decision, going for it, and knowing that you got you. And if you don't believe you got you yet in moments, just tell yourself you got you, you know, and practice having your back in every moment, being there for yourself in every moment. Practice that. It matters. That stuff matters, you know. So don't be afraid. That alone point, again, it's also, don't be afraid to be alone because you got you. You know, when I started my process 12, 13 years ago, one of the most crucial things for me was, you know, in waking up to seeing how destructive my mind was and how loud my mind was and how fucking just brutal I was inside my head. The thing that really supported me was this actual physical embracing of myself and saying, I got me. I got me, it's okay. Like those moments where I felt very overwhelmed and I felt like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. It's just, I felt so weakened in relation to my mind and what I was facing. It was like all I could do was just hold myself and say, I got me. And it's okay, I got me. And like actually like embracing and nurturing myself and like being here for myself actually physically. So maybe something for you to try also, you know, actually being there for yourself. Like no one will be there for you, Jason, if you're not there for yourself. So be there for yourself. And I'm here for you also. And I appreciate all your support, and I just want you and everybody to know how powerful and amazing and strong you are once you give yourself the ability to actually be that. It's like that point of, you know, Bernard liked to just, you know, my experience with Bernard when I was on the farm in South Africa was that he just entrusted me to do things that I would never trust myself to do things, but he just like, here, do this. And it was just this point of complete trust, because it was like he saw that when people are placed in that position of given power to like do the right thing, they're gonna do the right thing, you know, or they're going to trust themselves. If you know, it's like that point of like, if someone else can trust you, then you know that you can trust you. Or if someone else offers you that point of like, I can trust myself, then it's like, oh, I can trust myself. So it's just that point of like, you have to give yourself that point, you know, and like know that you're so powerful and you can do anything you put your mind to, and you can do anything you give yourself direction within. And it might be hard at first, it might be challenging at first, but it gets easier. Sometimes the first step in anything is the hardest, but you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. So start somewhere. And I'm here if you need further clarification, if you have comments, questions, if you have perspective, I'd love to hear you. Thank you for letting me read for you. Thank you for being a constant point of support for me. I really appreciate you walking with, Jason. So take care. See you soon.